feel, frankly, incredibly daunting. There's just so much going on. So today, we're going to decode that overwhelming funding environment and really transform it into a clear, actionable strategic playbook. We're stepping away from all the chaos and building a direct, logical path to help you scale your vision. To do that, here is our roadmap. We'll start by tackling the wall of noise, then define the actual startup tools at your disposal. After that, we'll build your decision-making framework, navigate the unique 2026 landscape, unpack the founder's strategic playbook, and finally, wrap up with your immediate action plan. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the wall of noise. Before we even think about building a strategy, we need to validate exactly how you're probably feeling right now trying to get your company off the ground. It's just a wall of noise. I mean, when you're constantly hearing about accelerators, incubators, government grants, angel networks, and venture studios, it usually leaves founders feeling completely blasted. It's honestly the default feeling in the startup world today. So if you feel like you're just staring at endless disconnected options without a map, you are definitely not alone. But, we can't just stay stuck in that confusion. Our whole goal in this explainer is to cut straight through that noise and replace it with a focused, highly effective strategy. Success today means knowing exactly how to pick the right resource for the specific stage your company is at, and more importantly, understanding how to actually leverage it for tangible growth. Moving right along to Section 2, defining the startup tools. Okay, before you choose a path, you absolutely must understand what the vehicles actually are. Let's look at the classic difference between an accelerator and an incubator. Think of an accelerator as a fast-paced boot camp. It's usually 3 or 4 months designed purely for speed and scaling an idea that already exists, usually ending in a big pitch day. On the flip side, an incubator is a much slower, more open-ended environment. It's really focused on hatching an idea from scratch. They serve entirely different stages of your startup's lifecycle. The crucial thing here is understanding the distinct trade-offs of each tool. Accelerators give you seed capital and a great network, but they're going to demand around 3 to 8% of your equity. Incubators might just charge you fees without taking a slice of your company. Venture studios, they'll actually embed their own engineers and marketers right into your team, but in exchange, they're taking a much larger equity stake. And then, of course, you have grants. These are the magic words, non-dilutive funding. You get the capital to support your R&D, and you keep 100% of your ownership. Knowing exactly what you're sacrificing for growth is the absolute foundation of your strategy. But hey, never underestimate the human element in all of this. Did you know mentored founders actually achieve 3 times better outcomes? It's wild. Investor networks and accelerators provide what we call smart capital. It's not just a check, it's their expert advice, their massive Rolodex of connections, and their credibility transferring directly to you. Honestly, this is often the most valuable part of the entire exchange. All right, on to Section 3, the decision-making framework. I want you to actively play along with this thought experiment right now. Think about your startup today. What is your single, undeniable need? Is it just raw cash to keep the lights on and survive? Is it expert guidance because you're totally stuck on product development? Or is it the network you need to reach those crucial first major customers? You really have to identify that one critical bottleneck, because your answer dictates your path entirely. This is the priority matrix. Every single day, you are weighing capital, network, and mentorship against your willingness to part with your equity. If expert guidance is your absolute top priority, then trading a little equity for a top-tier accelerator makes total sense. But if you fiercely need to protect your equity and simply need cash to fund some heavy research, well, you should be hunting exclusively for non-dilutive government grants. Your number one need dictates the tool. And remember, actually, scratch that. It's crucial to remember. This answer might completely change in 6 months. That brings us to Section 4, navigating the 2026 landscape. 60%. Let that sink in. A staggering 60% of Y Combinator companies this year are expected to be AI-focused. This single statistic is a massive flashing sign showing exactly where the gravity of the market is pulling right now. We are seeing these major, specialized accelerators popping up exclusively to fund and support AI companies. So what does this mean for you? Well, because the generalist programs are leaning so heavily into AI, you must be incredibly targeted. If you're an AI founder, you're looking at places like Excel and Google Atoms. But if you aren't building the next big AI model, you need vertical-specific programs. If you're in health, look at Halcyon. If you're specifically in mental health, look at SeedSpot. You have to find those niche programs that are explicitly searching for your exact type of solution. Okay, let's level up with Section 5, the Founder's Strategic Playbook. This is where it gets really fun. It's fascinating how we can elevate those foundational choices into pro-level advanced tactics. You can dramatically extend your runway using what we call the stacking strategy. Basically, you don't just pick one route. You pair an equity-based accelerator, which gets you the network and that vital seed money, with massive, non-dilutive resources. For example, imagine securing $150,000 in Azure and OpenAI credits from Microsoft, and then stacking that with $200,000 in cloud credits from Google. You're literally stacking these resources to artificially inflate your runway without giving up a single extra percentage of your company. It's brilliant. And that brings us to an incredible pro move, all about timing. If you time your VC pitch right after announcing a major grant win, let's say something like the Braze Tech for an Equitable Future grant, you are leveraging that external stamp of approval. Think about it. A major grant tells venture capitalists that a serious, rigorous organization has already vetted your idea and put money behind it. You walk into that pitch room with massive leverage to negotiate a vastly superior valuation. Now, we've got to talk about the traps where this playbook can go completely wrong. Fatal flaw number 1. Chasing the brand name. Please beware of chasing a shiny logo just to slap it on your startup's website. You have to verify if the program actually offers structural support for your specific industry. We see founders get in, give up a chunk of equity, and then just suffer through incredibly generic mentorship and terrible post-program support. Don't let vanity drive your strategy. And then there is fatal flaw number 2, the grant timeline trap. Look, government and foundational money moves at a snail's pace. It just does. Don't let slow grant payouts kill your startup because the cash finally arrives 3 months after you've emptied your bank account. The solution here is to build a blended capital stack. Mix in venture debt or revenue-based financing to bridge that cash gap and keep the lights on while you wait. Simply hoping the check arrives in time is not a funding strategy. A blended capital stack is. Finally, let's bring it all home with Section 6, your immediate action plan. Let's wrap up this explainer by giving you some hyper-specific marching orders. I really want you to follow these 3 precise steps to stop endlessly reading blog posts and start taking strategic control of your future. Step 1, open a doc and be brutally honest with yourself. Write down your number 1 undeniable need for the next quarter. Step 2, based entirely on that need, create a custom shortlist of just 3 to 5 laser-focused programs. And step 3, reach out to an alumnus. And I'm telling you, step 3 is literally the ultimate cheat code. Reach out directly to program alumni to hear about their actual experience. Send a quick DM, ask for just 15 minutes of their time. This is exactly how you bypass the polished marketing copy and get the absolute unvarnished truth. Ask them bluntly, did the program actually help you raise your next round? Was the mentorship real or was it just fluff? So I want to leave you with this final critical thought. Which specific tool are you going to leverage today to cut through the noise and scale your vision? Armed with this matrix and this playbook, what is the single most important move you will make right now to transform your startup's trajectory? Don't let the ecosystem overwhelm you. Choose your tool, make your move, and go build something amazing.
Hello, hello. How are you?
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Yeah, so the audience can see what I have to put up on
Uh-oh,
a
uh-oh, uh-oh.
What's
What? The
that?
audience can what? What'd you say?
See what I have to put up with on a daily
What do you mean
daily
put
basis.
up with? What? Why? Why? You starting off like this?
Welcome, my
Yeah,
dear, to
thank
Startup
you.
Blossom.
Thank you. My name is Robin Richard. For those of you who are listening to my fine, smart husband talk about me like you don't know me, or like
Okay,
y'all know something extra about me. How you doing, babe?
doing good. You sure you got enough books back there?
No, you can never have too many books. Never too much love, never too many books.
All righty,
Yeah.
fantastic.
You can have too much other stuff, but not too many books. Not too many books. That's all good.
Alrighty,
So,
fantastic. So, hello everyone out there. We're here celebrating our 6th anniversary for our Startup Founder Best Practices, which is a part of our Startups on the Box program at Kukui Institute. Robin, why don't you tell them a little bit about Kukui Institute, and we can dig into our startup program.
Okay, well, so in well, number one, happy anniversary.
Yes,
uh,
yeah.
6 years. That's, next you'll be saying 60, and it's like no big deal. But that's an incredible journey fraught with challenges and successes along the way. And just congratulations to you, baby, for sticking and staying.
Okay.
I think that's a seriously, that's a beautiful thing, and I know that it came with you at the sacrifice of your physicalness, because sometimes you were tired and you still did it. Sometimes you didn't know who was going to come on and you still did it. Sometimes you had somebody who was scheduled and didn't come on and you still did it. And, most of the time, people blew your mind with the things that they shared, or somebody
Sure,
else. And
sure.
so the overwhelming success of startup on the blocks is just my hat off to you, figurative, I guess I should say, hat off to
Yeah.
you for sticking and staying. So, and just see coming up with the concept. And so we'll talk about that name, Startup on the Blocks, how I teased you about that. So
You sure it was just tease me, but it sounded
yeah,
like you
yeah, it
were
went way
really
past
blessing
teasing
me
me.
out.
I didn't bless you out. I don't know how to bless nobody out. Uh, I teased you. I told you uh, about that name, and then look at you now. Look at you now, huh?
Well, yeah,
So,
but that's like, the history of the blocks here in Belmont the Villas neighborhood. And yeah, the historic Belmont the Villas neighborhood. That's the blocks, and it was the center of entrepreneurship and culture and community here in Pensacola. So that's where the blocks
you're trying to justify the on the blocks part. I see you. I see you still. The name is there, so you ain't got to justify nothing now.
come. Okay, okay.
What the brother say on the wire? My name is my name. Your name is your name. So, so,
That's right.
so speaking of names, Kakua Institute it means growth in Swahili, and so our idea for the institute, for the overall institute, was to blend the things that Lloyd and I both loved, passionately worked on, and appreciated, and then became known for. Lloyd, science and technology, me, art and history. And so it was those loves that really brought us together under the Kakua Institute. And so how do you blend those things together? And our idea was to discover, share, celebrate, and grow stories about African Americans in science, art, history, science, and technology. And so that's
Yes.
kind of the elevator speech. Beyond that, we really wanted this vision to be about the economic development and community development and growth of African Americans, predominantly here in the Pensacola, Northwest Florida area. Our work has since taken us literally all over the United States and to Europe, to Africa. We really expanded those opportunities and the lessons we've gained
Yeah,
from other continents.
yeah. So now that you mentioned that, we had about 25 high school students from Riker a couple of, I guess, a
Oh
month
yeah.
ago.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. And so that was just yeah, right. Yeah, Middle East. Yeah. So being able to, and I think that goes to the beauty, what we can talk about as well, the beauty of partnerships. And when you don't have something, people say, well, you have students. I say, no, we don't have students. We don't have people as such. We because Lloyd and I and LJ is going to come, Lloyd Jr. is going to come on. We're volunteers in this effort. And so we work with people, organizations, partnerships, institutions who already have a population, because that's not where our bailiwick, if you will, lies in garnering people together for something every day. Every day, people have these amazing skills in that area, and so we just literally jump on their bandwagon and say, how can we help? How can you help us in this effort? How can we help you in your effort so that we can all grow? And so, but we didn't start out with the Kakua Institute, thinking about this vision and all that. It was really to an effort. It goes back to moving a house in 2000. ooh, 16. Oh my Lord, 10 years. 10, 10 years. And so it went back to that, and that morphed into the Kakua Institute of today, where we work with the different programs on under all of those four. And Startup on the Blocks is came out of that what some 4 years later. As this effort to meet a need that the whole country was going through, and so that's kind of the background of the Kakua Institute. A ton of work since then, but that was kind of the background of it. Hey, LJ, welcome.
Hello, 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 family. Happy 6 year anniversary to Startups on the Blocks. So good to see you all. In LJ fashion, I'm coming in about 10 minutes late, but that's all right. I'm here. I'm
We
here.
are. Yeah, ain't been on here in over a year, so you good. You good. I'm about a year late. You good. You good. I relish Thursday because you taking the reign, so I relish a Thursday when I can do some community things. I'm able to do some community things on that meet on Thursdays and all of that. So really appreciate your dedication as well, LJ. It's
Well, I
been a
appreciate that. And I haven't been on in quite some time myself. We've had some logistical changes in the back here and whatnot. And so, really, what you see in the past year or so has been my father's work, specifically getting the speakers in, using AI to help bolster the trainings and the videos and stuff like that. And I think, I think a lot of people will want to say that maybe it's the easy way out, but when smaller organizations need to have a larger reach, AI can be a helpful thing if it's used with human touch and human care in that kind of way, and so like the explainer video we heard at the beginning of this show, I felt like is a perfect example of that. You can hear and see some of these things without it going into super deep detail. But then you have the human element, which is us, where you see the people who are working with
RI.
RI.
Real intelligence. Thank
Real
you.
intelligence. There you go.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no AI.
No
RI.
AI.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So Robin, you're like history and you like to do research, and that plays a big role in what we do. And startups have to do research about their industry and field. And so why don't you kind of explain to people how you do research and to make sure the information that you report is actually credible information.
So I know we got to look at FCC rules, but I'm nosy AF. I'm trying to be hip. And I think, so you can intellectualize that and call it curiosity or inquisitiveness, but I think it all starts with being nosy and wanting to know more of who not only I am, but my family, my friends, my community, my neighborhood, knowing who all of that is. And I think that old axiom about history repeating itself, I think that we do well when we can find some of the basis of that repetition. And so just being able to see what's been done, people say been done that, been there, done that, that sort of thing. Well, let me look at those stories behind that. So while I appreciate dates in history, Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Why was the brother even sailing? So I want to know. I don't know necessarily. So the time frame is important to know what was going on, the whole context. But I want to know the kind of whys and whos and where. So even looking at, I'm going to participate in an upcoming story where they want to talk about the value of this physical architecture in history. And so just seeing these buildings, so we can tear something down, but seeing these bigger buildings makes us have these questions, have this probing attitude to do it. So that's what I do. And so that's sort of my why. But the what I do is I just use what we all learned in maybe in high school, but certainly in college, this whole idea about literature, doing your literature research, seeing what's already out there. And now it is, this digitization of our of us, of the world, has made it easy to put most books at your fingertips, but certainly using first or second person, second source material to get it, and even validating that sometimes, because when I do genealogy research, I still have to validate, because of the prevalence of AI, I still have to validate those things, because transcriptions can be wrong, incorrect, they can be misleading. And so I still have to make sure to validate those things. So that's one way to check. But then if you can get first person accounts, that's generally always the best, even though we're fallible. And they talk about that when I love Law and Order. So when there's a jury, first person accounts are called into question. They want you on the stand, but then the defense is going to call your remembrance into question. Or that's where oral histories really are important, so that you can get this firsthand. So I heard on the intro video where there were two things I heard, but the second one about going and talking to somebody else who has been there, done that. And I think there's certainly value in that. You don't have to drink the Kool-Aid in the Jim Jones manner, but you have to know somebody else has Kool-Aid. It's a different flavor, but tell me about your experience in making your Kool-Aid, and how can I learn from that? So it's a number of ways. And then the final thing is letting my information go. And that's probably, one of the biggest things. I'll end with this. That's probably one of the biggest things, because I think everything I write is perfect. I mean, when I write, it's perfect comma, perfect apostrophe, everything, perfect context. When I let it go and let it be challenged by somebody else, even if I ask somebody, hey, will you look at this? They will find 10, 12 mistakes. Did you really mean this? Or is this did you really mean that happened in 1991? Or did you mean that happened in 1891? So, my mind will see what I want it to see. And so putting it out there sort of lets it go and gets it out of my head and out of my perfection, because I think everything I write is perfect. So that leads me to the second thing that you said on your video, and I really will end with this: don't let vanity drive your strategy. That was because I write something, I'm like, dang, this is good, Robin, this is good, but then I give it to somebody or give it to an editor, and they take that. I'm like, I thought that was the best sentence in the whole thing, but it didn't fit. It didn't go. So my vanity has to take a back seat to reality.
Yeah. So, but like all the stuff you're saying about research and all the background stuff, how do you think that applies to somebody that's entering into a business and having to do research?
Yeah, I think, we used to do, when I was more into the professional nonprofit management side, I remember took a course it was a certificate program before. Now they have undergraduate and graduate programs in nonprofit. Before, this was 30 years ago, they just had certificates. So I went to Georgia State and took a certificate program for a week there, one of the earliest nonprofit management certificate programs. And so, and the one thing they told you to always do is an environmental scan. Don't think that you have the first and only and the best idea. And so it may be a better wheel. It's still a wheel. It may be a better elevator shaft. It's still a shaft. It may be a better way to teach. It's still teaching. And so don't think that you're the only. So look around you and see. And that's me doing that literature research or seeing what someone else has done. Look around you and see. Take a scan of your environment, your peer environment, your professional environment. And see what's been done already, and then see, how you can make a better mousetrap. That old book, how you can make a better mousetrap.
So, like, you're doing your research and stuff, but what if you say, I got confidence, I believe this is correct, and I believe this is going to work. How does that work?
Well, that's testing it. That's getting out of my head. Because remember what I said, everything I write is perfect. It's getting it out of my head. It's getting it
Yeah.
out of my head. Yeah.
But if you was writing about some historical thing,
Hmm.
and then you say, I got a hunch this information is right, what I'm telling you, how do you think people will see you?
Say, I'm
So
not.
like for example, if so like in startups, a lot of people have their intuition or their excitement or enthusiasm.
Oh,
So I noticed it's gonna work, I noticed it's gonna sell. You see what I'm saying? So like, but if you were presenting information that you were supposedly have research and got evidence, you know, there's no, you have to have evidence when you are reporting something, right?
I got you. I got you. Yeah. So it's testing it. It's testing it. So I guess in
Yeah,
that case, it would be testing the marketplace. So whether you're doing a sample, let me send my product or service out to 10 people at what is that? What do y'all call it? Beta testing. And so let me send this product or service out to people and I'll give you this product or service free for a year, but in the mean, I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to take some metrics. I'm going to pull some data from your usage, your responses, or take a survey. So I'm going to it's that environmental scan, but then analyze. And we used to have this thing called PIME: plan, implement, measure, evaluate. And so that was one of the things I learned: plan, implement, measure, evaluate. And so you want to do that. So, and we can get stuck. I'll go back to me. I can get sort of stuck on my doing way too much research, because
yeah,
it goes and go into that proverbial rabbit hole, but
yeah,
also not getting it out of my head, thinking I'm not
yeah.
ready to
I think
write.
that's
And
true.
so yeah,
Yeah,
and so not getting it out of my head and getting it tested. I think
yeah,
so not to give up your hunches that this is the best or anything, but just test it.
yeah, yeah.
Because yeah.
That's yeah, that's a good way to say it. And those are good ideas. So, Lord Junior, you in the music profession, how does research come into play in your profession?
Well, research is particularly because I'm an opera singer, and if anybody knows anything about opera, opera is old. Is at least the colloquial thought is that everyone thinks that opera is like this old hoity-toity, powdered wig kind of stuff that you're going to kind of listen to, and there is an element of that is true. But there are operas that are being written today. There are operas that are out here now that are still as relevant. But when we think about research, in order to create a story and in order to act a story, you have to go in. I just recently did the most famous opera, La Boheme by Puccini, and it's been done over and over and over again since its inception
Okay.
in the late 1800s. Or no, not even late 1800s, early 1900s, excuse me. And so having been done so often and being the most famous thing, you have to go in and know where the story comes from. You need to go read the original play the book that it came from. Then you need to read the libretto that the actual opera composer wrote alongside their librettist, right? Then you have to go and say, like, how does these two stories meet up to one another? And then for the actor or the singing actor in my case, then I have to say how much of my acting choices are directly referenced from the information that was put before me. If I don't do that and I just act any kind of way on stage based on how I see myself in 2026 time frame, and I see these characters in 2026, then I miss what Puccini and Henri Mouchard were trying to say in 1846 or in 1856. You see what I'm saying? Because the thoughts and the mindsets were totally different. And so research is vital. I will say, because I'm a music teacher as well, that very often when I'm choosing songs for my students to sing, I will choose something that they can most connect with because they will have history that they can draw from that. So I have this funny story. I had a student who wanted to sing "I'm Here" from The Color Purple, but
Okay.
they were a white male. wanting to sing I'm Here from The Color Purple, which is Seeley. They had never seen the movie before. They had never read the book. You know, they had never seen the other newer movie with Fantasia Barrino in it. They had not seen any of that. They just liked the song because they heard it on the radio, or they heard it in their wherever their sphere was. And so when I explained to them what the song was about and told them to watch the movie and told them to see it, all of a sudden the person was like, I don't know if I should be singing this song anymore. Because now that I understand the context of who's singing it, why they're singing it, when Alice Walker wrote this to be what context it's in, maybe I'm not the person to sing this song because then I will be looked at in the wrong way. When we don't do our research in opera and in the arts, we find then that we create art that doesn't, even if it bucks against the social norms or something like that. Do you know you're doing that? Do you know that that is a mindful step in that direction? And so it's very important. And then we unfortunately get those times when art doesn't work so well. So research is really vital to how you are going to perform as a singer, whether you're in opera, whether you're just a recording artist. You know, it's really easy for a Black person to be like, oh, I love that song, Beautiful Dreamer, until you realize it's by Stephen Foster. And maybe some of his text, even though he's an American icon of songwriting, maybe some of his text was not appropriate for 2026 ears, you know, and then you have to say, well, maybe this is not the song for me to sing. Those kind of things. It's this kind of wrestling that you always have to do.
Is there a way, LJ, that you can make those songs in the words of that young white student that you had singing one of Alice Walker's works? Is there a way that you can then make it your own? This sort of what is the man who wrote James? So it's Huckleberry Finn, but then he wrote, and he won a Pulitzer. He won a whatever the British prize is. He won the Booker Prize. He won the Booker Prize. For, and I can't think of his name, but he wrote the book James. And so James, it's taken from Jim. And so he's taking a very different perspective of it. So is that possible that you can take a song, a lyric, and then make it your own, change the
absolutely.
I am woman, I am man, hear me, you know.
Yeah, but you can definitely do that if you know that you're doing that consciously. And this is the thing, and I will say this for startup founders, when they're working, you may be like, hey, say I make a music app it's about singing or something like that. And I know this is going to work because nobody has this and I don't see it, but you only see this small piece of the pie of where you're at. And so if you're going to take like a song and like what you were saying and like repurpose it, you can repurpose the song, but you have to consciously know that you're repurposing it to maybe reclaim it for this time, reclaim it for a different purpose. You know?
And maybe in that entrepreneurial way that you're saying to be ready to explain that.
And you should
a different mousetrap while you're okay.
Absolutely, you have to be able to explain it. Like if you do the research, market research or otherwise, for your startup, and you realize, and I think Dad, we talk about this a lot, that the reason why people struggle with the research aspect is because that's when they're going to confront that they don't know. Everyone has to confront that part that I don't know. And moreover, in the startup industry, you're learning about business. How many people who have startups have an MBA? How many people who have startups are starting with it? So you're starting with a deficit of knowledge about the structure of business. So you have to come in open, you have to come in malleable, and you have to come in understanding that like the formulae that like the lean stack method and stuff like that that you have provided over these 6 years is there meant because that's the structure that will help you get to that. And it's hard. Like, how many lean canvases do we have to create before we get to?
Well, you know, like, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is, and I'm not sure if Robin knows this, but so when the founders need to do research or about an industry or whatever to become knowledgeable, and they're trying to use AI to do it, But if they don't know what you know about research, how they're gonna research it properly.
Well, and again, it's validating and knowing what understanding. So even with so that's why I said that you want to get this first source data as best as you can. So that in my world, that may be reading a census list, the page before and the page after. You don't just go to the one. You read the page before and the page after. It may be reading a city directory, but it may be reading or interpreting a map and understanding all of that. But in the entrepreneur world, it could be reading a financial report or reading an annual report, reading a news story, and not just in your daily newspaper, but reading it in the journal. What do you call it? Like a business journal, or something like that. So reading those to see. It used to be this old thing when Wikipedia first came out. We were doing as part of this group effort, and one of the projects we were doing was taking some students to Selma, Alabama, and so I will always remember her kindness. But one of my friends, Chris Toma, who was a journalist with the Pensacola News Journal, the Gannett paper, she came in and taught the students about journalism, and so she said, this new thing, Wikipedia. You can use it, but scroll down to the references. So you can read it, but scroll down to the references. So if you're going to trust something, don't just take it, because you can change. Wikipedia can be changed in a minute. Lloyd shot JFK, and then he turned around and and wrote the Iliad. And so in that order, right? In that order, and so. So you can change those things, but go and look at those references. And now again, with digitization, if a book is old, you have the Gutenberg press, the Gutenberg organization, where they've digitized older books. But then also you have archive. What is the archive.org, where they have archived things online, and so you can go and check. You can check them, because people can change. Facebook and social media, they can change websites at a minute, but you can go back and do that. And that takes, as LJ was saying, that takes some commitment. It's not, it ain't for the faint of heart. And neither is research is not, but Lord knows entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
Right. And the reason why I was bringing up this stuff, because as a startup founder, you do have to know that the information you're getting is credible, and you, like you say, you have to go out and verify it. But one of the things I wanted to comment on is over the past year, even this year actually, is a lot of things you have to research your industry or whatever. So being married to you, Robin.
I'm glad you smiled when you said that. Lord have mercy. I was wondering what's coming out after that one.
And you always scolded me on how to do research. So
scold you on how to do research. I do tell you to stop believing all that AI stuff, because as I said, you done killed JFK and wrote the Iliad, and you will start believing it. Well, the best period for the African American was 1902 to 1903. What? What are you talking about? Get off of AI.
but anyway, what
they said is context. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I did is I took your methodology for doing research.
You heard it here. Record that. Stop the tape.
and it ended up creating this thing called the historical pattern engine.
The what?
The historical pattern engine. So
the historical pattern. So you took me and monetized it, and I don't get any residual. And we're going to get new towels. We're going to get new towels. You need new towels at your house. We're going to get new towels. Well, I hear what's that called when you get a check every month?
A residual.
Dividends
or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I just explained the AI how you do research, and said I needed to train the AI on how to do research, and yeah, it works pretty good.
We're gonna have some pillow talk tonight, man. We're having some pillow talk tonight.
But the key thing is you started off talking about history and how things repeat themselves. And one thing AI is good at is finding the patterns of things that have happened in the past, and so you can understand that, so you can leverage some of those same patterns.
Yeah,
To,
and it is, and again, it's in context. When I first started out, I mean, I was using whatever I could grab at. I mean, I was,
yeah,
until I came up with, again, with my own habits
yeah,
of research. But one of the people that I used in research was a friend who is a college. She's retired now, a college historian, African American, particularly African
yeah,
American history was her specialty, and so I knew a lot of local things, but I didn't have this knowledge of these or excuse yeah world, particular world, but specifically American events that happened with these years. And so I was trying to line it up. So I gave her what I knew. I put it in some form and gave it to her what I knew, and she said, okay, this is what was happening here, this is what was happening here. And it really put in a context of why people were doing things locally, and this because they either saw this national impact, or in some cases these local things made a national impact.
yeah,
And so it was again getting it out of my head and letting it fly, testing the waters, so to speak, and gathering more information, doing that environmental scan that I talked about earlier, seeing what was out there, but trusting that other people have your best interest at heart. So I went with somebody who's a friend who understood this history and who was a professional in that. And so I just didn't go to Joe Blow on the corner or Jane Blow on the corner and say,
yeah,
hey, this is what I'm thinking. I went to someone who had those skills and experience and knowledge in that area. And she challenged me on some things.
yeah,
And so it only made what I was doing better. And
yeah,
so so again, it's not only trusting yourself, but trusting others to believe in what you're doing. And they're not trying to steal your ideas. I'm putting this out, and she wasn't trying to steal it. I'm writing a
yeah,
book, and she's trying to, do this. You put
yeah,
somebody out there who trusts you, who they ain't even gotta, I mean, like you. They call it love you, but they ain't gotta like you. You're
yeah,
not looking for somebody who's just gonna check a box. You're looking for somebody who's gonna put some truth back in your lap to make it better. So
yeah. So people may be watching and wondering, so why we've been doing this program over the past 6 years, and we do around 48 events each year. So times six, that's like it's getting close to 300 events. We only miss one event in 6 years. So Robin, I'm guessing I want you to put your curiosity hat on and take us back to the beginning, like this why we started it and all that stuff.
hmm.
So we can.
Well,
so
maybe.
okay, fact check some of this. But so in 2020 we
Okay.
were at home. I mean,
Yeah,
so we were making some. I mean, I think the word for either that year or 2021 was pivot. That was
yeah,
that was.
yeah. You respect pivot, but what I'm asking is, why
No, I
don't you?
understand. I understand what you're asking. I'm just saying that was the
Okay.
that was the word. But you started it. It was started in terms of startup on the blocks because of these two things that happened. One is that we were home, so that brought in this digitization. But the other thing was these tragedies that happened around George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many other named and unnamed, predominantly African Americans who had been murdered, who had been mishandled, who had been injustice given to them, and that sometimes unfortunately ended their lives. And so it was this whole 2020 was not only this
Yeah,
physical reckoning, but it was also this emotional reckoning, and so this racial and social justice reckoning. And so it was this opportunity for corporations to really examine what they were doing in terms of diversity and putting this green money after black, if you will. Those are my words. So putting, so doing
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons that that it was started, because of what was going on in the world. So from March to when the world shut down in March, businesses had to be done differently. And so with the whole, what was that, the PPP loans and all of that, where the government stepped in to make sure that businesses were still existing. And so they saw during this, there was a lot of disparity. So you stepped in and said, here's this way to make sure that not only entrepreneurs keep going, but that founders with these ideas get a great start.
Yeah, so I was wanting you to kind of interview LJ and I to kind of get big.
You tell me I was coming on here to work. What?
Yeah. Well, that because
I was on TV for 3 hours this morning.
Yeah, but but the bottom line is I kind of wanted to kind of help people understand the what led to this, and so
LJ says moderator under his moderator.
It do say that under my name, don't it?
It does say that. Wait a minute.
Okay. But yeah, so LJ, you might have some different perspective, but that's why I was kind of wanting you to kind of ask some questions, Robin. But I like your perspective that you gave, but. That's what you see, but what LJ might answer that different, and I might.
No, I think your perspective, Robin, does put us in the right frame of mind, and I think with my father, he has always been about entrepreneurship. So we're seeing Startup on the Blocks as like the 6-year-old thing that's been going, and he's been doing all these partnerships in the community, and we've had pitch competitions, demo days, the strategic partnerships with Startup Science and Lean Stack and a number of other folks, right? I grew up with him starting small businesses and start doing these kind of things. So this is not new in this kind of way. Yeah. I think what I would say that that also kind of spurred this conversation along is I kind of put my father's, I told him to put his, money where his mouth is, essentially. And I was like, well, Dad, if you have this platform, you have a nonprofit, you have this space to connect, and everyone is online now. I think this is a great way to talk about it. Everybody's pivoting. I will tell you, in the arts world, especially in performing arts world, as an opera singer, my work is in live performance, not in digital recordings like Spotify. Wow. So it's like you have to physically be in the seats in order to come experience the show. Yeah. And so when everything got digitalized, the whole theater world was in an uproar. From the most well-known actors and actresses like Audra McDonald all the way down to little old me. We didn't have work. Yeah. So then we had to figure out what
you mentioned Audra McDonald and you in the same. I just love.
Well, only she knew. Right? So let me tell my view of the story.
And kudos to so mention. I know you're probably going to mention Versailles too. So
for sure. Yeah. Always make sure we kind of do that. So basically. I'll make it a little humorous. So me retired from the federal government, and of course it was a research institution. So I do know about research.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And but
y'all come in with money. Y'all come in. The government comes in and says, "Here's $12 million. Go figure something out." And on the entrepreneur side, it's like, "Go figure something out. We need now. We got to go find the $12 million."
Yeah, but in the government, we use the R&D engineering methodology to do that. So in the startup world, you use entrepreneur method, and so that's what the deal is. So basically. We're getting back to this thing about Startup on the Block. So as when I retired, I got to do startup stuff full time from the government 14 years ago. And so I got to kind of learn about the ecosystem and participate in pitch competitions and training programs and get free this, free that, travel all over the world. And so I knew you could actually leverage the ecosystem with just an idea, and the ecosystem would help you before you even start a business and when you're at the idea stage. And so that's what I learned. So as I traveled all over, everywhere I went, I would go to these events they would have on Thursday night and to help founders. So they would network for the first hour, and then they would have, depending on what the size of the place was, they have several breakout rooms. You need help with marketing, you need help with AI, you need help with this, and you would go to these rooms, and then you would get training. So those communities, startup communities, and Robin, you know, when we travel on business trips, man, you know, if on Thursdays, whatever, if on Wednesdays, I'm going to whatever startup event in that city. And so you just like when I worked for the government and we went on trips, and you always go into the, you know, these different library research places and stuff like that. But the bottom line, I had learned a lot about leveraging the ecosystem. And I came back here to Pensacola, and so participated in the startup community. And you had these ecosystem organizations that were trying to help founders, but none of the people in the organization had been out there on the ground to understand what the ecosystem is really about and what it's like. And so for like 5 years before 2020, I kept feeding this information back to the community, what I was seeing. And everybody still kept doing their own thing and not what I was suggesting. So in 2020, when we at our ecosystem meeting, all the different universities, all the different groups and stuff, they pitched what they were going to do in 2020, and not one of them said anything about what I had suggesting, helping founders at these early stages.
Wow.
Not one of them in 5 years. So Lloyd Jr. and I were having these meetings every week, and I would complain about it. And so finally in May, he said,
"Money where your mouth is." Go ahead. Go
ahead. And
don't talk about it. What that woman got confused.
Don't talk about it, be about it. That's right.
She said, don't be about it, be about it.
Yeah, so what I basically saw on every Thursday night in all these communities, they had stuff for startup founders to help startup founders, no matter what stage they were at, you know. And so I said we need to do something like that here, and so everybody ignored me, and so, you know, so that's how the idea was born. You know, after me complaining about it so much, Lord June said we just need to do it ourselves. And so we just took what we had, which was nothing. You see what I'm saying? Almost nothing, and worked with what we had. And
well, you had something. You had this knowledge, and you had
I had this knowledge, and so we didn't have any training platforms. All we had was, you know, hop in the streaming thing that we had started using with the Pensacola network.
Oh, let me tell you about the beginning. You had to go to this link and click on this link and do. I'm like, what in the digitization? What is why? Do you have to do well, you got to click over here, baby, and then to do I don't know all this. You got to hop in, hop out.
It's like let's
don't blow your nose on camera. Don't look. Don't stand up. You ain't got pants on. What in the world is this? What? I mean,
like Les Brown said, you got to be hungry. You know.
Listen, my name is Robin Woods Richard. I'm always hungry. So I was like, what is this? But then when I figured out, now this is the LJ, this is the part of digitization I like. When I figured out I could get ready 5 minutes before we show up. I was like, I take it back. I like Zoom.
You know, I like this technology.
Yes, I like this. I get up, you know, we do the Thursday morning deal on but WBQP. I turn the thing on 7. Okay, time to put the makeup on at 7 o'clock. Oh, oops, what? I got my pajama bottoms on. Okay, I'm telling too much. It's like the Superman one. He had his suit. What's the Superman son who's on? I think he's on ABC now. That he had the one shot they showed, he had his suit on, tie, neck, and he dropped his camera and he had shorts on. And listen, we make mistakes in but
Yeah.
but I think that was the one thing is convenience and that you can connect
Yeah.
people.
And
I'm
so,
gonna hold on, babe. I'm gonna hop over to the Pensacola Network. The first time that the biggest show that we had was Mike Howard, who had been the NASA. What was he? He was some sort of computer programmer
for IBM. Yeah.
for IBM. That he'd done this incredible work with NASA and had worked with Leroy, LJ, Uncle Leroy. They had worked together. Turned out they had worked together at IBM at the same time. And
Yeah.
so, but we went digital, and he had the Dickens something that happened to his computer. And we had 500 people. It was incredible. It was like one of the highest ones. And I was like, oh, this power. We're in the Pensacola Network, we're happy if we can get 100 people in there. Here you have, and so before that, we were not able to do that reach. And then, so then that happened. But then hooking up with the TV station with WBQP, it extended it even more. So sometimes, you may go into this either new technology or this new way of doing something, kicking and screaming like I did, and it turned out it really is helpful. It's not there to harm you.
Yeah,
it really
but just in the startup world, like a lot of founders, they can't get away to go out of town, or if their city don't have the event. And so our approach was to, since we were in COVID, go ahead and start virtual and do it virtual. So make the information accessible to people no matter where you are. And so we like in our network, and we had a guy from Nigeria on asking questions about his business ideas just before we got started tonight. So it make it, and he's staying up late just to connect to get the information.
Yeah.
So, but that's what the beauty of it is we made the information available to people. You could be at home. You don't have to worry about somebody babysitter here or whatever. Yeah. And so that's what's significant about it. But the thing that what you said, Robin, with the George Floyd murders, and what I had seen was, and so what I noticed was these companies start setting aside 100 million here, 100 million there in the summer of 2020, right after George Floyd. And by the end of the year, it was several $1 billion.
Wow.
But what I knew from being a startup founder, I'd say the average founder I'm meeting, they don't know about this ecosystem and how it works. And so you got all this new money coming in, but if you can't even explain your business clearly, because the whole startup world works on this thing called a lean canvas. And so when somebody asks you what your business is about, you fill out an application, you have to fill it out, the whole, not your product, but how you make money with your product or service. And so if you can't even get past the application, you're in trouble. Yeah. And so that's what this idea of startup best practices was. So you could, network and learn what these best practices are. And literally all it boils down to, if you can communicate your business model, you can get access to all these resources. But the example that the AI gave, and I want to show this video here in a second.
AI video?
Yeah, but it's based on all the knowledge that
see what I deal with, LJ.
So it leverages. So you're not going to believe this, Robin. But what I did was I had
you took one of my ideas and monetized it again.
Yeah.
We're going to get some new sheets. Is that new towels? We're already getting new towels.
It has proprietary IP that we are using based on.
I don't know what proprietary means. I don't know what IP means, but I do know what new towels and new sheets means. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
The bottom line is So I leveraged the AI to go back and look at all my emails, every email I sent 2020.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? All my calendar stuff since 2020. And if I had started earlier, I would have had to go analyze all the transcripts from all the workshops. When you look at all the workshops we did since 2020, and you look at all the sessions we did here and all the mentoring things, and having all those transcripts, and it could tell the whole evolution of the startup founder best practice, the Black Founder Program, Founder Insight Program, and so that's what it is, and it can trace the growth. But yeah, it was hard, trying to connect information and explain it to founders, and so yeah, and I may understand something, I may not understand something, so that's literally where the AI came in to kind of help us understand a lot of the stuff. But it's taking known principles like how you research. And for me, working for the federal government all those years, and as an engineer, I can't go in and say I believe something. Yeah. If I chose a thing to go on this robot or this weapon or this material, I have to justify why I chose that.
Yeah.
So
sure.
yeah, and so it's no free lunch. You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, and it's worth, and it's with the old thing. If it's worth anything that's worth doing, is worth doing. Great. And so that then takes not only practice, but you're not going to get perfection. Only perfect practice gets you perfection. So you're not going to get that, but you just practice so that you can. It's why LJ does his research, but also why he reads his, also why he practices his songs. Is when I write something, it's also why I'm looking at it. So either I can not have to look at my notes every 10 times. It's that same idea. Yeah.
And so that's what tonight is all about. We went from doing this best practices, and we leverage all that information to generate an intelligence system. But it's just all about having a community where any founder can come in and join and learn these best practices and leverage the knowledge that has been accumulated, over the years. I'm going to quickly, I want to give a shout out, to our some of the partners we have dealt with in the past and still currently dealing with. So like you were saying earlier, Robin, nobody is an island. You have to get partners and stuff to kind of move forward. And so we have an extensive set of corporate partners and organizations that we work with and still continue to work with. And we also have funders that we work with as well. But the key thing was, for all our demo days, and for those of you all don't know, Lloyd Jr., he was the timekeeper for the demo days. But we had a lot of judges as well, and this is not all of them. This is just a few of them from all different backgrounds. And Robin, I know you see Rodney on there.
I do. I was just looking at that. Yeah.
And some of these folks from all over, and Ted too. So like, and so when we got started early, our first 4 or 5 pitch competitions, Innisfree Hotel funded those.
Funded them, yeah. And let me just say something about Rodney. Talk about someone who's using their skills and experience to help. Rodney was not an entrepreneur; he was a banker, financial professional, and so. But he used that knowledge to help founders, to help people get their ideas off the ground and to fund them in unique ways. I know one of our mutual friends, he helped to end up buying his grandfather's barber shop. And so being able to leverage that, so bringing in, there's really pride and ownership, but also, okay, let's get your finances right. So when it's ready, they're ready to sell, you're ready to buy. And so that was, I know that was a proud moment for our barber friend to be able to do that, to recapture that history. But Rodney, that's the way he thought, is you have an idea, how can I help you reach that idea, but then also how can I help you sustain that idea? And when he passed, he was working on these incredible ideas.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
we
with
were
our
working
friend
together.
in Mobile, our banker friend in Mobile, and so he was just so sometimes people who are helping you are not entrepreneurs themselves,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they have this at heart. They have your best at
For
heart.
sure, for sure. And that's the beauty of the judges. The judges literally supported the founders and and also the judges also followed on and helped some of them with their business idea to help coach them and stuff like that. So look, LJ, do you got an idea how many pitch competition and demo days you facilitated?
I don't even know. Like at this point, when you say that, I was like, it's easily. I mean, I'm sure it's probably around 10, somewhere around 10.
No, no, you way off. Of course, it's almost 24, man.
2 dozen? What? I would not have thought it was that many.
Well, like
In
even
6 years? Wow.
yeah, but see, like I don't know if you remember in 2023, we did um, um, 6 30-day cohorts
Mm.
and two 90-day cohorts.
My goodness, we were working like in 2023.
Yeah, but you see, so each one of those had a demo day,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then before that, we had already had about 5 and 20. 2020 we had one, and then we had 1 or 2 in 2022, 2021, and and so on. So like it's so all these judges volunteered their time, but it's several more of them. I apologize for
Yeah,
not having.
yeah. And I just want
Yeah,
to point out, and previously, Coach Lucy, like
yeah,
she would be on and she would be so motivating to everybody, regardless of what stage they were at. She would
yeah.
really try to help them go to the next phase of
Wow.
where they were going, And so, I remember her distinctly because she did so many of the competitions, and a
Yeah,
lot of the judges were so happy to come back and help again to
Wow.
help push people forward because they were seeing people just starting from ideation all the way into creating something.
yeah.
Isn't it
So
wonderful to have somebody cheering you up?
Yeah.
You're
like
talking about Coach Lucy. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to have someone who's cheering you up. Yeah,
yeah.
even if you
So
don't, the outcome doesn't come the way that you want it to in terms of winning or
yeah,
getting this prize, but just to have someone cheering you up to it's I think I can, and you have
yeah.
someone who's pushing your caboose,
Yeah,
who's
so
cheering you up.
I'll give a couple more people a shout out. So we had Rose legit, and we
Mhm.
had
Oh, yeah.
Ebony, the coach. We had um, uh, what's the I can't even think from Tampa, the the guy that does the yeah, I
Oh,
can't even
Chris, not
not
Chris.
no you remember he came to a first uh, uh, innovation summit with the medical stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, oh, yeah, for my knee, yeah.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause people loved his stuff when he was talking.
Yeah.
Yes,
He
So
was
yeah,
just
yes.
and then we also had B from when she's
yeah.
in the cybersecurity. She did several of them. Like I said, I apologize. I don't have. But we probably got this many other judges that's not even on here right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think did you have another screen or
No, no. This screen right
oh
here
the
is
whole
for our
team? Okay,
coaches.
okay.
For
Yes. So
coaches.
like, yeah. So we use leverage the Lean Stack program. So these people, except for Lloyd Jr., they got certified in
Okay.
level 1, and some of them in level 2, and 3 of us got the level 3 Lean Stack coaching, and there were more of them as well. But these, so yeah, so that's to help the founders to coach them, and then we also had mentors too as well. So
Yeah.
the coaches was basically just to teach you the process, to coach you through the process, or help you with doing what you need to test for and figuring out stuff like that from the methodology. And so that was
Yeah.
pretty cool there. But yeah, so we had my whole point is that we had a lot of help, and
Mhm.
moving that forward. And so we didn't do all this, by ourselves.
No.
And we also leverage a lot of AmeriCorps Vista program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And we leveraged
That saved the Kikuyu Institute,
Yeah.
AmeriCorps Vistas, the Gulf Coast Veterans Advocacy Council. That
Yeah.
literally saved
Yeah.
the vision. It helped keep the vision going for the institute
Yeah.
during because we had gotten those, and then they said, okay, you got them, but April you're shutting down, and so I remember trying to figure out when we were trying to bring people in, and the distance and all that, and so because of our building, I mean we had 2 manuals, and one manual was 88 pages long. I said, I don't even know how to read this many pages. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can do it in just a few seconds, baby.
The what?
Yeah, I can do it in a few seconds.
Let me put my glasses on so I can hear what you're saying, because you're talking crazy.
Yeah.
And that was just one, and it was like 2 of them. One was like 88 pages, one was like 75 pages of just your procedures on wiping things down and the distance, and after somebody gets up, and we were like, what in the world is this? And everybody was going through that. So that the AmeriCorps Vistas working from home and connecting in the way that y'all brought everybody back together, just kudos. And I know a lot of people obviously went through that, but partnerships, to your point, Lloyd, partnerships are just so very important.
With the Summer Youth Employment Program, the county, Escambia County, Career Sword, and also a lot of the voc rehab contractors.
UWF just talk about helping with the research. Just pushing things forward. The media, I tell anybody, when the media calls, you answer. And so the people who help put stories out, or who had some interest in what we were, even when we were we were trying something and it wasn't, because even as a nonprofit, you're in this entrepreneurial spirit. So even though, we may have messed up over here, the media was still, cheering us up and on, because it was a good story behind it. And so we just really grateful for that. Even our neighbors down at the Institute, Lord have mercy,
they're so
what y'all doing? We don't know. We're trying to figure it out too. We got a plan. We're trying to implement it, and we messing up. That's not what the M stands for, but that's what we doing. We're trying to do it. People supported it. They supported the students. So that was just so important. So
and a couple of things before I show the video. We're kicking off our new, and we already partnered with Florida State University, but we're kicking off a new partnership with Florida Atlantic University. We may have some interns from them starting as early as next week, and they're gonna pay the folks in this Access Tech program to actually work and do work for us, and which is work for us. But the first 2 projects they're going to do is going to be so we can use what they build to support our founders, cybersecurity, and also the cloud stuff, and that's kind of important there. So that's how we keep moving forward and trying to serve people. But let me show this video and just so you all can kind of see how the AI analyzed our history, over the past. It's not totally inclusive, but this will be a good start.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely wild. We're going to trace the exact lineage of how a basic human-to-human coaching program for startup founders literally transformed, step by step, into this advanced governed AI architecture known as the Lensha system. Our source material today is this incredible design history with the program's creator, Lloyd Richard, and honestly, it is a masterclass in how human friction drives major technological leaps. So you might be wondering, how do you get from a simple weekly networking meetup to a highly generalized AI system that preserves human knowledge? Well, as we're about to see, they didn't just wake up one day and decide to build a massive AI tool. No, this is a story of bottleneck-driven innovation. Every single technological advancement we're going to talk about was forged in the fire of solving a real, immediate problem for the people standing right in front of them. Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for The Explainer. We're going to start with the founder access problem, then see how bottlenecks drove every leap, explore AI as a translator, unpack the lineage of breakthrough, and finally wrap up with preserving tacit knowledge. All right, starting with Section 1, the founder access problem, and specifically ecosystem language. To really grasp the AI system they have today, we have to rewind to 2020. At the time, there was a huge influx of capital and resources specifically meant for minority and Black founders. And the ecosystem thought, hey, supplying funding is the entire solution. But it wasn't. Throwing money at the problem wasn't enough because these founders were essentially getting locked out. They needed to learn the startup world's highly specific language, things like lean canvas or demand validation, just to get past the gatekeepers to access those resources. They really needed a structured methodology. Now, this wasn't some overnight magic trick. Back in 2020, they laid the foundation with basic startup best practices and ecosystem navigation. By 2021, they moved to practice, actually putting founders into cohort-based, structured work. Then, by 2023, they developed conditional progression. And this is key. It meant founders couldn't just move forward because a curriculum told them to. They had to provide evidence to progress. And all of this matured layer by layer into the governed intelligence system of 2026. It's a true lineage of human capability. Moving right along to Section 2, driven by bottlenecks. Because, as we'll see, friction really does drive leaps. Look at it this way. None of these leaps were made just to play around with cool, shiny tech. They were direct responses to human constraints. When founders lacked ecosystem knowledge, the team built out navigation and learning. When they experienced severe cognitive overload, they're trying to learn a complex framework while simultaneously building a business, the team developed scaled cohort-guided practice to help pace them. And when founders still struggled to interpret what those methods actually meant for their business, well, that is exactly when AI-assisted explanation and simulation was born. But then, they hit a massive roadblock, what they called the validation wall. Lloyd described this as just incredibly painful to watch. He saw these brilliant founders designing absolutely fantastic products, but getting completely stuck trying to validate demand. They couldn't figure out who to interview or how to prove people actually wanted the thing they were building. So these amazing products were literally just sitting on the shelf. And this massive bottleneck, it forced the team to find a radical new technological solution. Which brings us to Section 3, AI as a translator, bridging the gap. So during the Black Founder Program, AI was finally brought heavily into the mix. And this actually dispels a massive myth. AI did not replace human methods here. Actually, scratch that. It was the exact opposite. AI accelerated human comprehension. By using tools like Notebook LM as a sort of mirror, the AI reflected ideas back to the founders in the language of the ecosystem. Because founders were really struggling to write all this prose about their businesses, right? So the AI did the heavy lifting of translation, which just massively accelerated their learning. And the implementation was super deep. The AI was literally simulating a full 30-day business model design. This sped up how fast both coaches and founders learned the material, and it extracted these hidden patterns that the founders couldn't even see. Eventually, all of this evolved into a massive 27-step orchestration prompt. Instead of wasting hours writing paragraphs they barely understood, this prompt walked founders through real scenarios, forcing them to focus entirely on critical thinking. All right, Section 4, the lineage system breakthrough. It was time for systemic solutions. So, as this prompting got incredibly sophisticated, a funny thing happened. Lloyd himself became the operating bottleneck. He's managing all these complex prompts and analyses, and he just couldn't scale himself anymore. He needed a systemic solution. The goal had to shift beyond basic AI outputs, because just getting AI to generate a business model wasn't cutting it. After noticing a founder named Bell getting these incredibly rigorous, detailed outputs, a major epiphany sparked. The system needed to aggressively verify facts, actively stop AI hallucinations, and uncover hidden contradictions across different conversations and documents. It had to be a strict truth-seeking engine. So they built this rigorous architecture, heavily rooted in Lloyd's engineering background from the Air Force Research Lab. It follows a super strict flow: claim, evidence, challenge, test, decide, and preserve. You don't just move forward because an idea sounds cool. You make a claim, you find evidence, the AI challenges it, you test it out, a human makes a decision, and then, crucially, you preserve that learning. Evidence absolutely must earn the next progression. And this rigorous flow, it birthed true multi-stakeholder intelligence. This was the real launch of the Linecia system. When the AI analyzed a founder's business model, it wasn't just helping that one founder anymore. It was analyzing the data and asking, okay, what does this teach the founder? What does this teach the coaches? And what does this teach our entire institution? Every single engagement was now systematically improving the broader organization. A real game changer. And that leads us perfectly into Section 5, Preserving Tacit Knowledge, Generalizing the AI. So, this brings us to tacit knowledge. You know what this is? It's that valuable, unwritten know-how, the skills and experiences that people possess and usually just take with them when they leave a company. The team realized something huge. The exact same AI system they built to extract a startup founder's business logic could be used to extract and preserve the deep, unspoken expertise of highly skilled workers before they retire, and that knowledge is lost forever. This wasn't just some abstract tech theory either. The real light bulb moment hit when Lloyd was talking to an architect in his building who was about to retire. He just looked at him and said, "Man, you're getting ready to retire. You've got all this knowledge, and it's going to go to waste after you retire." If knowledge just vanishes when a person walks out the door, the institution never truly owned it in the first place. And this ties into a deeply personal design philosophy for Lloyd. He remembered a lesson from his family back in Tallahassee. When my mother or grandfather told us something, it wasn't for that moment, it was for a lifetime. And wow, this became the ultimate design anchor for Lanicia. Valuable knowledge shouldn't die with tenure, and it shouldn't just serve one fleeting moment. It absolutely must be reusable for a lifetime. Okay, to quickly summarize the core principles we've covered today, the whole goal is to preserve principles, not just temporary outputs. Every single human engagement has to improve the entire institution. We are literally watching human, tacit capability formally convert into governed AI intelligence. And finally, evidence, not just enthusiasm, dictates conditional progression through the system. Which leaves us with a final, provocative thought. If your organization's most valuable knowledge walks out the door tomorrow, what system do you have in place to preserve it today? This journey from a weekly startup meetup to the Lanicia AI architecture proves that with the right structure, human expertise doesn't have to be fleeting. It can be captured, governed, and reused for a lifetime. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this changes the way you think about the knowledge in your own organization.
Wow. Tell Miss AI it's Lanika.
Lanika, thank you. Thank you.
Lanika, not Cha. And I didn't see, this is startup on the blocks. I ain't see one black person, figurative figure in there.
Well,
real eyes. See with these real eyes.
okay, yeah.
Okay, all
Appreciate
right.
your stuff there, but I just wanted to make sure folks are aware that we have a lot of resources. Like once you sign up for our programs here, and I'll just put this particular link in the chat so everybody to this whole document here in the chat. But while I'm doing that, but the whole idea, as you can see, we're not letting all the knowledge go to waste that we have accumulated, here. And so, and any founder that goes to this apply.kakuinstitute.org, you get access to a lot more materials and stuff. And I do have one prompt that I want to share. Let me find it here. I added it to one of these documents. Let's see. This. Yeah, so and this is kind of like a gift for today. It's in the thing I just shared with you. It's this reflection prompt. So when you run this prompt here, it actually will look at your whole prompting history and reflect everything back to you, like a mirror. And so you can see all the good stuff and the bad stuff and all your faults and everything. So it's literally an invaluable tool to help you learn and grow. It's this idea of using AI as a mirror. And Robin, I remember you saying at the beginning, you have to let your work go, and so other people can evaluate it and see it. And that's what this reflection thing, part of what this reflection thing is all about. And founders have to literally get out of the way of their idea and turn it loose and let other people and the AI reflect it back to them so they can actually understand it little better.
I remember when somebody asked me, how do you write? And I said, well, the first thing is I read. So you read
Right.
other people, and they're like, oh no, I don't want to get other ideas, people in my head. Well, where do you think those ideas come from? It's by experiencing the world and seeing things being around and available. So don't be afraid to read other people's work and see other people's, because that's
Yeah.
how we get idea. There's nothing new under the sun. And
Yeah.
so you're just trying to build a better mousetrap.
Yeah.
So yeah, not absolutely.
I would
Absolutely.
also say too, I think if for folks watching, it's important to know that Kakula Institute Startups on the Blocks is here for people just getting started. And I think that overwhelming feeling of what does it mean to have a startup business or an app or starting a business, all of the fears that we have about doing something new, this is that place where you can begin to like address that. And nothing about doing something new is always easy. It actually is going to be a little difficult. This is why we set them up in accelerator programs and in sprints, like 30 days, 90 days. It's for you to have that serious conversation with yourself about, can I commit to what this has to be, along with my other activities that I have going on, my job, my kids, my other responsibilities, caretaking, your own health issues. There's a lot of things that come to be a part of this. And I really just want to give a shout out to all the people who have been here throughout these 6 years
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and really stepping in. Carlos and Vercel and Corey and some of these folks who are, Patrick Rooney is like, he'll be in and out all the time, and the people that you don't see that are there supporting one another, who are willing to take on, taking over a startup on the block, who are willing to take over a network, who are willing to sit with people and have conversations with them. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, but this, I just want to say that Kakula Institute is a place for folks wanting to start and they don't have any resource. One of the things I want to point out, and I've said this in years past, is that very often people, when they come on a live show like this, they're looking for who's on the call right now, who's looking, how much engagement is right now.
Yeah.
But these videos exist on Facebook, on YouTube. And when people go and search and they look, guess who's going to pop up? There's going to be Lord Richard and Startup on the Blocks. And these videos are going to come in, or say one of the speakers ends up having a great success in their startup or something like that. And then they're going to find the video of the interviews and the talks that we've had here. And so if you go back and look at some of these Facebook videos, you may be like, oh, there's only a few people on the call. And then later on you look and that video's been watched 500, 600 times. And you go like, well, who was watching this video? If we've done over 300 videos, is somebody going back and watching these things? But there's so many nuggets to pull from that I just want to let all the founders and those who are watching out there, one, thank you for taking the time to come in and know that you have a connective place where you can see people who look like you walking through the startup ecosystem and trying to encourage you. And then the second is to go back when you do have time. Maybe you don't have time right now, but you know where the videos are. You know how to engage in that space. That's the thing that's really powerful. And I think that you've really done an amazing job of making sure that this information is out here. So I just want to just commend you on that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Yeah. So like probably in the near future, the Black Innovation Alliance, we partner with them, and they have a thing called Source Code, and so we'll be pushing that out to our founder community as well, and that will be some training and and help for you to kind of move forward. So there is no shortage of help. But the main thing I want people to do is like you have to engage. Like I have office hours every Saturday from 1 to 3, and here every Thursday night. And so like
that's usually when the grass needs to be cut. LJ, is when the office hours. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
it's too hot. It's too hot. Global warming. It's too hot.
Yeah. The lawnmower starts. It's like, oh, look, I got to go to office hours. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're making me sneeze, baby.
Okay, wait a minute. Since y'all done already ran overtime, let me tell you about your daddy, LJ. So, your granddaddy was great granddaddy. Your great granddaddy, LJ, was a farmer, among some other things, farming. So Lord said, okay, I want to start a garden. I said, okay. So I, start small, start with what you can manage. So I went out and looked, okay, we're gonna do right here in the backyard. So if it messes up, ain't nobody gonna see, so do this. And I'm like, okay, I got a shovel and a rake and a hoe, so I'm ready to do it, baby. You ready? It's Saturday, 12:59. Let's go out here and do this. And your daddy talking about, I'm allergic to dirt, baby. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to keep a straight face.
I can't, as his son, I can't really speak any against that because I'm probably allergic to dirt too. But anyway.
You get what is that song? I get it from my mama, you get it from your daddy. You get it honestly. You get it honestly. And so but here's the key. Beth Bowles, let me give Beth Bowles with the University of Florida credit for me, because I was talking to her. She's a biology botanist, gardener, whatever. She does incredible out at the university. And so she says, I was teasing. I said, my husband doesn't help it. He doesn't do any, like Henny Penny. I'm preparing. I'm doing this. And I said, all he can do is go out and pick. She said to me, Beth, let me give Beth Bowles with the University of Florida credit for this. She said, harvesting is just as important as planting. And so, because you can do all of these things, and if you don't pick the fruit off the tree, your ideas can literally die on the vine. And so I'm your dad is allergic to dirt, but he ain't allergic to harvesting. So right now, because he goes out there, because I would leave the grapes on the vine. Isn't that pretty? I done the work I want to weed. I need to go out there and weed the beds. I need to cut the orchard. I'm good. But he will that harvesting. So somebody to, whether it's you're good at developing this project, you're good at doing the numbers, but you're not good at marketing. You're not good at selling. So to get somebody to go and do those things is important. So I'm gonna forgive you for that dirt comment, baby, because but just to say, in the whole, as you said, in that whole ecosystem, is just as important to know your roles, to know what you are, as you said, LJ, what you're strong in, what you're weak in. So lots of things learned over the past 19 years. Lord have mercy. Have been learned over the past 10 years with the Kua Institute and 6 years with Startup on the Block. So
13 years with the Pensacola Network.
13 years with Pensacola Network. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting. July was 13 years with the Pensacola Network with 143 consecutive events.
Oh my, he loves the numbers. He loves those.
So with this event, we're right around 288 something, but that's not even including all the workshops we did.
Wow.
And then and next month the 10-year anniversary, for Kua Institute. So so we've been around and we got the record, we got the evidence of our labor.
Amen. And and everyone. My father's supposed to be retired. This is what he's doing on his retirement. So I just wanted to point this out.
I'm retired from the federal government from civil service.
Okay.
He said it's not from life, and don't let him. He ain't retired from harvesting because I got about 2-3 more trees I need to put in the. I have learned about this. We're going to be talking about this in October during this retreat. This Miyawaki method for planting, where you plant things close, and so you let literally the roots are made stronger because you're planting things
Mm,
closer together, and so even of different trees you're
mm,
planting things closer, and so you see exponential growth instead of this 5-8 year. You see things grow quicker in 3 years. Between year 1 and year 3 you see this exponential growth, and so I'll be testing that out. But yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
great analogy to being in a startup ecosystem and a startup community. Is that when
Mm,
people are coming together like this in the networking and stuff like that, they are getting that growth. You may think that somebody else's startup is not in your wheelhouse or your business, but listening to the work that they're dealing with and they're going through are the resources that we're having to change and go through, from like Hopin to StreamYard to all these other things. These things are a progression. We're evolving
yeah,
all the time. And so that's what community is about. And so I just appreciate and thank you all for being a part of this community, that are watching and whatnot, because however we feel about community, it helps us know, and it's like a litmus test for us to know like where we should navigate or what we should focus our attention to.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of my I have several twins, and one of my twins, Robert Bellanova, he
Mhm.
he says, and he said he didn't start this, but I attribute it to him because he's the one who told me. He said, when you live in abundance, you don't build a wall, you build a bigger table.
Mm,
Live in abundance, you don't build a wall, you
mm,
build a bigger table. And
bigger
so that's what I
table.
think that, yeah, that Lord has done over these years, is he's not walled people out. He's not tried to keep people out. He's tried
Yeah,
to build that literal bigger table to invite more people in and to sit at the table.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because what did
Right.
Brian say? If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So we want people at the table.
Whoa.
We want people at the
Not
table.
me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we appreciate you all too, and all the support, and you all been giving me and everything, and I couldn't have did it without either of you. So glad, and all the coaches and stuff like that. So it's really great. But I think we need to get off here. We've been on here. We're trying to go for a record here.
No, it's perfect.
Celebrate.
Yeah, I've been up since 4:30 this morning, so I
Woo.
think I think it's a good time to good time to cut
Yeah.
away. Good
Well,
time.
we
Happy
appreciate
anniversary, baby. Happy
yeah,
anniversary.
yeah. Thank you, and happy anniversary to you all. Thank all the audience out there, and all
Mhm.
the coaches, all the mentors, all the funders, all the partners.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just amazing. When people come together, you can do things to support people,
And the cheerleaders, as LJ talked
yeah,
about, Coach Lucy, the people who are cheering
yeah,
you up. They may be standing on the sidelines, but they are cheering you up and up and up and up and up. So we're grateful for them, because sometimes they're not seen.
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
only
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
All right,
yeah.
all right. So bye bye, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
Yeah. See you next Thursday.
I'll look for that residual check, babe, from AI. Okay, all right.
Okay, all righty.